100-year-old Wookiee, whatever that is. What do Wookiees look like?
Wookiees are about 7'4". They're very hairy everywhere. Palms of their hands, maybe in the inside of their mouths, I don't know.
Wonder what a grand moth is. Sounds like something that came out of the clothes closet. Grand moth, you know.
Mask on, mask off, welcome to the future. Life's been hard like she's staring at Medusa. Don't seduce her when her...
This is just a series of thoughts begot from the subconscious of a carnal mind trying to bridge the gap between the earthly and divine. I pray the Most High doesn't deem this tower a rebuilding of Babel, for what I'm about to impart is confusing enough without the inclusion of tongues. This is the vocal anguish of daughters and sons beating a tune into your eardrums. I ask that you dance to this percussion, waltz to the twang of heartstrings as I weave a world for you to travel through with the darkness within. I hope you do not shy away from sin, for this journey is fraught with lawlessness, and out of this ordered chaos I hope to shed some light, for my generation is one of diluted melanin and a diluted heritage, born under a star that rejects any relation. I ask that you listen for once, cause I doubt I'll ever have the courage to say this again. So without further ado, I invite you into the confines of this mentally ill male mind. I give to you sunsets and suicide.
What up, famo? Welcome to In Case You Missed It, episode 3. Sorry for the delay. I released a project last week called Corona Care Package, and yeah, the week got hectic, so I didn't get time to shoot. But yeah, we're back. Today we're talking about a project by TearsInTheSoil called Sunsets and Suicides, which was released early 2019 and recorded towards the end of 2018. Yeah, it's a sonic experience. Yeah. Tears is literally my favorite Zimbabwean poet, and the way we met was kind of crazy because back in 2018 I was doing open mic sessions, and at these open mic sessions you'd meet all sorts of creatives. You'd meet fellow rappers, you'd meet poets, you'd meet amazing singers, and a lot of people who I connected with there I still talk to now. It was like a very dope creative hub. It was held at the National Art Gallery of Zimbabwe, and the aesthetic was just like super dope. So basically I performed there, and after one of my performances he actually came up and said, "Yo, this is dope, etc etc." He was giving me props, and I was just like, "Oh, thanks, man." I actually just thought maybe he was just an audience member who just come to check out the open mic. And then I think the following week or a week after that, I see him on stage performing a piece, and like the way he was just delivering it, and I can't say I'm like one of the biggest spoken word enthusiasts out there, but I do appreciate great art when I see it, and I saw that he had something that was completely different from what I heard before, and was definitely something that's like super dope. And then we got to talking, and then he told me that he wanted to do he had some pieces, and I was like, yo, you might as well put them into like a project. But I didn't want it to be like a poetic album per se, but more like some sort of an experience. So this is I can't say that I was producing per se. It felt more like scoring, right? Because I was just putting a sonic layer to sort of complement the words he's saying, and put also specific effects, like maybe he's talking about a train, so then I would have the sound of a train coming from one ear to the other, so it becomes like the sonic experience. And it was really dope, but it was also super intense, because the subject matter, as you can hear, the title is called Sunsets and Suicide, so you can imagine the subject matter was very grave. So I found myself during certain times of mixing that project, I would have to like step back a bit so that I just protect my energy, because like you'd get sort of lost in the words, and it would like really affect me during a day, because that's how powerful he is as a spoken word, you know, a spoken word performer. And yeah, it was really dope. Even the recording process when he was coming through, like I didn't even know that this man was coming from like out of town, because he comes from Goromonzi. So as Tears, I'm putting your business out there, but yeah, so he was coming from out of town to come record, and it was really dope, you know. And it was quite the experience, and you know, we put it all together. I came with the pieces, and yeah, then when it came time to release, you know, I was like, no, this is not enough to just put it as a SoundCloud link or something like that. Let's make it something special. So that's when I brought the idea of using visualizers, and then we used like a visualizer for each piece that complemented each piece. I created these visualizers myself, and then we just put it together and we released it as like a YouTube playlist. The link is gonna be in the description. So yeah, it was really dope, and I feel like the subject matter is very important because it was an analysis of mental health, you know, and especially in men, you know, and just like addressing mental health issues, and really bringing to light like the realities, especially in an African society that doesn't really take mental health all too seriously. We felt like, you know, it's important to put out a project like this that actually speaks to that, you know, that topic, and I'm extremely proud of that project, and I really wish it got more traction and more sponsorship, because we actually had ideas of like actually doing an event or something of the sort based around it, but you know, these are things that still can be done. But that's my piece on it. Let's hear from the man himself, Tears in the Soil.
Hi everyone, name's Tears in the Soil. So in September of 2018, I was scrolling through Facebook, and I stumbled across this memorial service flyer for an old childhood friend, and did some digging, found out that he committed suicide. He was suffering from depression and some stuff. He was on medication for it, and no one could actually tell me what drove him over the edge, you know. But it was a shock, and it was very painful, because he had just reached out to me a couple of weeks before that, and wanting to talk, Skype call and everything, and I forgot to contact him, you know. So it was a painful time for me. I wrote a piece, a sort of eulogy for the funeral I never got to attend, called Memoirs from the Abyss. And I decided to call up Six because I wanted to record it. He looked at the piece and he's like, "Now we should. If you have other stuff like on mental health and stuff, we could put a project together." So I had one or two, and then I wrote some other stuff, deeply personal stuff, about my own experiences, and some stuff I've heard from close friends, and Sunsets and Suicides was born. It was both an amazing and confusing experience, because painful in that I had to keep on going back to that place of hurt. Amazing that I got to watch Six work his magic, and we created this amazing project together on mental health awareness, you know. So yeah, I think that's the gist of it.
So big shout out to Tears for that, explaining his perception, his experience with the project. And you know, just a closing note, I feel like there's a lot of people who are battling with mental health issues, who are maybe embarrassed or scared to seek help or seek assistance or speak out. I feel like don't suffer in silence. Speak out. I know there could be a lot of stigma and stuff, but at the end of the day, like, your peace is something that needs to be protected, and it's something that you need to value. So don't just keep it to yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a therapist. It can just start with a family member, someone you trust, and just speak about what's bothering you. You know what I'm saying? What you're going through. What you need help with. If it's like too intense and you feel like you might just need to offload on a stranger, hit me up. Like, DM me on one of my pages, and let's chop it up. Let's just talk about it. I won't put you on blast or broadcast it, but then I definitely have a will to help people who are dealing with a lot, to help them just get through that. All right. Corona Care Package EP is out now. Shout out to everyone who's listened to it. Shout out to everyone who's given me all these encouraging words, given me some critiques. I truly appreciate it. The link is in the description. And you guys know the vibes. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. Bless.
I remember when we used to scare ourselves by pushing each other onto the tracks whenever we heard a train was coming. Little did I know that it was more than just a game to you. It was a matter of life and death, in which you would always gladly choose the latter if only I'd realized how serious you were. When you told me that red roses could bloom from a human being's head as long as you planted the seeds correctly, I would have told you there and then that it's a garden I wouldn't ever want to see. That gray matter was never intended to be used as fertilizer. It's ironic how you believed bullets could become seeds. How the resultant bouquet of death would somehow point me towards the beauty of living. It feels like it's been forever. And yet everything's still
100-year-old Wookiee, whatever that is. What do Wookiees look like?
Wookiees are about 7'4". They're very hairy everywhere. Palms of their hands, maybe in the inside of their mouths, I don't know.
Wonder what a grand moth is. Sounds like something that came out of a clothes closet. Grand moth,
Mask on, mask off, welcome to the future. Life's been hard like she's staring at Medusa.